squaring off on a new pipeline.
Business in British Columbia should be discussed with British Columbia at the table.
A brewing battle between provinces, but ultimately it's up to the feds.
We need to get new markets.
Plus, a grizzly bear attacks during a school field trip.
The bear is still at large and the community doesn't feel safe.
11 hurt, including 3 children and a teacher severely injured on a Northern First Nation. And able to help his grandma in a moment of need.
How did you get Grandma's phone?
Just out of her purse.
A 5-year-old hero makes the right call, and a bus driver leaps into action.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Tara Nelson.
Hello and thank you for joining us. It is still likely at least a decade away from moving crude, if it ever does. But a new pipeline to the North BC coast has already stirred up an intense back and forth. Premiers from Alberta, BC and Saskatchewan have all traded barbs about the line's potential as Ottawa weighs the pros and cons of the endeavour. Tim Brooke has the latest on what this pipeline is up against.
More jabs Friday in a Western war of words.
You might want to check with the locals if you're discussing policy in their province.
This is what Team Canada looks like, that when you've got provinces that don't have access to a shoreline, we cooperate.
Premier Danielle Smith's pipeline push has gotten under the skin of BC's David Eby. Eby believes Smith's quest is premature without first pumping more crude through the Trans Mountain pipeline.
The existing publicly owned pipeline that was built to service the province of Alberta over the objections of British Columbia cost about $30 billion to build, taxpayer dollars, is not at full capacity.
Where we may disagree is I think that is the beginning, not the end of it. I want to see pipelines in all directions.
Work is being done to beef up TMX. Additives will soon speed up the moving crude, and looping lines in the route's slow areas will allow more oil to flow. It's near 85% capacity now and expected to reach 100 next year.
The reality is it will be full soon, and there are lots of other projects, oil sands projects, that could be developed that would add new production that would more than fill up that pipeline.
And when that happens, Smith wants to get moving on a new line. That's a scary proposition for some.
One of my big concerns is the threat of landslides in the fjords offshore of Kitimat or Prince Rupert or wherever a pipeline might end up that could impact the fjord waters and trigger a very large wave, essentially a tsunami.
Experts in earth sciences share worry with some coastal First Nations about the pipeline impact.
If this were to come down today, this would probably trigger a big wave, low probability, but with incredibly high consequences if it should occur.
One of the reasons, according to Eby, it's time to hit the pause button.
And Tim joins us now with more. So, Tim, let's talk about the original Trans Mountain pipeline. It was built in 18 months.
Yes, Tara, things happened just a little bit faster on the regulatory front back in the early 1950s. This time around, as we all know, if another pipeline is approved and eventually constructed, it's going to take a lot longer than that. But Premier Danielle Smith says she's still feeling good about the whole thing. She still thinks Ottawa is on board with her idea, but right now, as she puts it, the ball is completely in Mark Carney's court. Tara, she says that if things do move ahead on that memorandum of understanding, she's expecting it to happen in a matter of weeks.
Okay, Tim Brooke reporting. Tim, thank you. A new report released today offers a roadmap to addressing rising complexities and aggression in Alberta classrooms. It also reveals schools are in a crisis mode, with teachers overwhelmed and under-resourced. Terry Fikowski joins us now with more on the recommendations in the report and how teachers are reacting today. Terry.
Tara, the Alberta Teachers Association says it supports the 7 recommendations of this report because it's what educators have been calling for years. Now, that includes developing a criteria for class size sizes, hiring additional teachers and education assistants, and clarifying roles to support students with therapeutic needs. It also calls for streamlining services for children before they enter grade 1 and helping families navigate supports, in addition to more funding and coordination across ministries. Now, the report comes 5 months after a 25-member action team was created in June, made up of educators, community partners, and disability organizations. The education minister says the situation facing Alberta schools is unprecedented due to the significant increase of students entering the system, needing to learn English, and others that require extra assistance. The ATA says this isn't surprising, and the government not only needs to implement changes immediately, but needs to properly fund the system in order to do so.
Make no mistake, Alberta does not need another report that gathers dust on a shelf in the minister's office. Alberta needs implementation. Alberta needs transformation. Albertans demand action.
We're going to bring it in front of the Cabinet Committee, and we have, of course, the ability to allocate resources through that Cabinet Committee. We anticipate some of the earliest that we'll be able to implement next steps will be as early as January.
Nicolaides adds that a committee is waiting on data from school boards to identify the classrooms needing the most help and then will direct resources to them. He says the report will now go to a Cabinet Committee next week. Tara?
Okay, Terry, thank you. A very large crowd gathered in downtown Calgary last night, protesting the provincial government's new legislation affecting transgender.
No to notwithstanding! No to notwithstanding!
At least 1,000 activists, advocates, and supporters rallied at the McDougall Centre. They're opposed to the government's use of the notwithstanding clause to pass Bill 9, which introduces sweeping restrictions on trans youth that includes preventing kids from changing their pronouns at school, making sexual health classes opt-in only, and barring trans athletes over the age of 12 from competing in female sports.
For every one person that they have on their side who is trans saying do this, I will find you 1,000 who will say don't. They are listening to a fringe minority, not the vast will of our people. And this will lead to more violence. We've already seen this. We've already lost people from our community specifically because of Danielle Smith's policies. She has blood on her hands.
The rally was held on the Trans Day of Remembrance. Despite returning to the bargaining table with Alberta Health Services this week, a strike is still on the table for tomorrow morning. The potential job action would impact healthcare systems across our province. If a deal is not reached, roughly 16,000 healthcare workers, represented by the Alberta Union of Provincial Employees, could be on rotating strikes by 8:30 a.m. tomorrow. They include thousands of licensed practical nurses and healthcare aides. In Calgary, there will be picket lines this weekend at all hospitals and at the Sheldon Schumer Centre. Lab physicians claim they tried to warn the province that privatizing lab services was a bad idea, but they say legislators didn't listen. The comments come 2 days after the Auditor General revealed more than $100 million was wasted in an attempt to get Dynalife to take over services across Alberta. The province's contract with Dynalife started in 2022 and was terminated just 8 months later. There were lengthy waits and financial issues. Lab physicians say they warned repeatedly that the proposed structure was untenable and the plan was likely to fail.
Good ideas can be good ideas, but they will fail if there isn't that communication, if there isn't that deliberate planning and due diligence to anticipate these types of eventualities.
Lab physicians also say the report raises troubling concerns about political interference, unethical business practices, and a lack of transparency. Elections Alberta has received another petition to recall an MLA. The latest recall petition is for Grand Prairie MLA Nolan Dick, who is serving his first term. Petition organizer Casey Klein says Dick has not been accessible to the public, adding he voted in support of the notwithstanding clause to force teachers back to work. This is the third recall petition against UCP MLAs approved by the Chief Electoral Officer. The Premier says she is now considering whether the legislation, which she supports, needs to be changed.
Well, we've been talking about it as a caucus and as a cabinet. We think that there are some procedural issues that are unfair, that, for instance, those who are the subject of recall often don't get told right away, so that prohibits them from being able to set up their candidate accounts. There's some complexities about why they can't use their existing candidate accounts that they've raised money for to start defending themselves.
In response to the recall effort, Dick says he is committed to being accessible to all constituents in Grand Prairie and says he spoke to Klein earlier this year. Organizers need to collect just over 9,400 signatures before February 19th for the process to keep moving toward a recall vote.
You're watching CTV News, Calgary.
Warmer temperatures are giving construction workers some extra time to work on road and infrastructure projects. The city says crews are catching up on work that was delayed during the summer's rainy July. Road work benefited the most, with paving and concrete jobs continuing much later into the season than usual. Officials say the extra warmth is helping make up for lost time and even help to get a small jump on some projects for next year.
The concrete, the asphalt are very sensitive to temperatures, and so we have to be very cognizant and calculated in the work that we do, even in October. The more we can do in a season, take advantage of that weather, keep people working, make progress on these projects, take advantage of the current market conditions outside of any risks that may come in the next few years. It's nice to take care of those windows and get what we can done.
Warm weather isn't great news for everyone, though. Wind Sports says it's about 20 hours behind schedule on snowmaking ahead of its planned December 5th opening. Staff have only been able to make snow in short windows, only to watch some of it melt the next day. Probably some melting today, too. Danielle joins us from the Hospital Home Lottery Show home in Bearspaw tonight with our first peek at the forecast.
Yes, thank you, Tara. Just hanging out by the fire. Beautiful kitchen behind me. $3.3 million show home. We'll talk about it throughout the show. Big deadline. Just hours away. Okay, but quick look at the weather. It's been a windy day, but that wind got our temperatures up. So we got to 11 degrees in the city today. Now we're starting to dip for the evening, of course, so we're down to 8 degrees. The winds are also starting to calm as well. So as those winds calm, the temperatures are going to dip pretty fast. So in about 2 hours, we'll be at 5 degrees. Overnight, you're looking at the freezing mark. Tomorrow will be just like what we had out there today, but the winds won't be as gusty as much. So instead of getting into the double digits, we'll probably get to 9 degrees. Your full forecast, much colder forecast coming up, Tara.
Thank you, Danielle. A Calgary senior is recovering after a medical emergency last week, and she says she owes the quick response to 2 strangers and her 5-year-old grandson. Alicia Fieldberg reports.
Alec Cohen's grandmother often takes care of him, but last week it was the other way around. While they were out for a walk, Becca Cohen tripped over her cane, hitting the ground face first and knocking herself unconscious.
I saw my grandma fell.
I felt the impact with the cement, and the next thing I know, he's shaking me. Wake up, Tata. Open your eyes, Tata.
As his grandma lay on the ground covered in blood, the 5-year-old went into her purse and got her phone.
I go through her number and pressed dad, and then I called him.
While the kindergartner was on the phone with his dad, 2 other people rushed over to help, including a city bus driver who saw the fall.
And then the gentleman came out of the bus, the young lady ran, and they sat me up because I couldn't get up.
Off the pavement and onto the grass. Asked her a few questions if she was okay and if there was something we could do to assist her.
She ended up with bumps and bruises on her face, but more seriously, broken bones in her wrist and knee. Cohen and her family are glad for the chance to thank the bus driver in person and want to do the same for the other helper, a woman named Rebecca, who called 911.
Thanks to the community, thanks to people who stopped to help out.
There's still nice people out there looking after somebody else.
Alec also helped in the ambulance, holding Grandma's hand and comforting her.
I was impressed with him, very proud of him, of course.
Alec's grandma says she's glad that she talked to him about emergencies before, so he knew how to use her phone, even her entry code.
One time she told me, and I still remember it.
I let him because I never knew when I needed him, and he did. He's a smart kid.
The family says it's a good reminder for everyone to review what to do in an emergency, so hopefully they can end up with a happy ending like this one. Alicia Fieldberg, CTV News, Calgary.
Now, most smartphones do also allow 911 calls to be made without knowing the entry code by pressing the emergency button first. The Cohens are still hoping to thank that other Good Samaritan who was walking nearby and stopped to help. So if that's you or you know her, please contact CTV. Just ahead on CTV News, call it the ladybug effect. Why these small vehicles are making a big difference in downtown Calgary. And incredible images from a Canadian train crossing highlighting the importance of paying attention to those signals. A terrifying grizzly bear attack on a school group in the remote BC community of Bellacoola. Several people have been hospitalized, including children. Officials from the New Hope First Nation say about 20 students in grade 4 and 5 and staff were on a field trip when a grizzly attacked without cause. 3 children and an adult continue to receive treatment in Vancouver. Officials say teachers and students responded heroically to protect one another. The grandmother of one of the young victims had this to say.
The hardest thing was seeing what the bear had done to my granddaughter, her tiny little body. And to tell you the truth, I don't even think I would be that brave. She woke up once and she said, "Is Auntie Joyce okay?" It's one of the education assistants. And I said, "Yeah."
Conservation officers are searching for that bear, which may have been injured before the attack. They say it is extremely rare for a bear to attack a large group of people. Luckily, no one was hurt when a train slammed into a dump truck in Markham, Ontario. The truck stopped on the tracks and the train crew sounded the alarm. The horn tried to slow down before impact. Officials hope it is a reminder to all drivers to obey train crossing signals. Paramedics took a motorcyclist to hospital this morning after a serious crash in Bowness. It happened just after 10:30 a.m. at 34th Ave and 77th Street Northwest. The bike was on its side on the pavement and there was a broken stop sign and a chain from a barrier on the ground. Police say the victim's injuries are considered serious. Officers blocked off the intersection until about 4 p.m. while collecting evidence. A man in his 20s suffered life-threatening injuries when he was struck while crossing the street last night. It happened just before 8 on 32nd Ave Northwest. There is no word yet on charges. A Calgary man who the FBI wants extradited to the U.S. made an appearance in court here today. 33-year-old Alistair Chapman was arrested on extradition warrants in connection with an FBI operation targeting an alleged Canadian drug kingpin. Chapman is accused of providing a photo to one of the co-accused and paying him to post it to a website to locate and kill a witness before he could testify against Ryan Wedding. Wedding is a former Olympian and alleged leader of a transnational criminal organization. He's believed to be hiding in Mexico. Chapman faces extradition to California on charges of conspiracy to commit murder, among other offenses. He appeared in court in Calgary in person wearing a blue jumpsuit. His case was adjourned until December 5th. 2 former members of the Tsuut'ina Nation Council accused of sexual assault have failed to win re-election. Former Chief Roy Whitney faces charges in 2 separate historic sexual assaults in Edmonton, and former Minor Chief Emmett Crowchild faces a charge related to a February incident at or near Tsuut'ina Nation. The new chief is Ellery Starlight. In a social media post, he says he is humbled and he believes in the people of the Tsuut'ina Nation. A new waste removal program in Calgary's downtown core is changing the way alleyways look and feel. The Ladybug Cleanup Team is reducing fires, garbage, and safety risks behind businesses. As Mark Villani reports, it's all part of a wider push to improve downtown security and support the most vulnerable.
It's a mad dash to douse these flames. And in Calgary's downtown alleyways, dumpster fires were once a regular occurrence, causing tens of thousands of dollars in damage.
What we definitely have the concern is, if a fire starts inside of a bin or any area like that that's close to a building, that escalates things for us.
Me having to sprint to the front, tell them that their bin is on fire, sprint to the back, they bring out water.
But this cleanup team supervisor says that's all changed ever since Calgary's Downtown Association introduced these colorful Ladybug micro trucks back in July.
Those days have been over for months now. The alleys stay clean and free. We see more foot traffic in the night from people walking through.
The trucks are used to pick up garbage, cardboard, and hazardous materials like needles 4 times per day. And removing waste bins in alleyways dropped police calls for service to 0 in the months to follow.
We kind of identified the dumpsters as congregation points and fire points. So basically it was, how do we get rid of those? How do we kind of reinvent that system?
The alley has been a lot cleaner lately. We
We don't have any issues with broken glass, any, honestly, needles, any paraphernalia lying around.
But disorder in the downtown core is still a concern, with more than 13,000 calls so far this year and reports of violence also increasing. A one-day downtown police blitz aimed to crack down, and while the Ladybug Project seeks to clean up, some say tangible housing supports and key relationship building from outreach groups is still essential to address these issues.
We can't just pick people off the street and stick them into an apartment and expect them to be fine. We need to provide some services that help support them while they reintegrate into society.
Calgary Police says proactive engagement is key. We take a balanced approach by connecting individuals with compassionate supports while enforcing laws and bylaws where necessary. And cleaning up today hopes to make a big difference tomorrow.
It's definitely been way safer.
Mark Villani, CTV News, Calgary.
And for more information on the Downtown Association's Ladybug Cleanup Team, you can visit our CTV Calgary website.
This is CTV News, Calgary.
Let's get a closer peek at our weekend forecast now. Danielle on location in Bear Spot tonight. Danielle.
Yes, I am at a stunning $3.3 million grand prize show home. Also winning, you could win with this $100,000 cash. So we're sitting by the fire here. I'm actually joined by Dr. Sandhu from the Women's Cardiovascular Health Clinic. Thanks for joining us.
It's great to be here.
And we're really enjoying this house because, yes, there's a big deadline. It's tonight. It's hours away to buy tickets to win this. But let's talk about this. When can we move into this house if we win it?
Well, isn't it amazing that in a few short weeks, you could be decorating your Christmas tree here?
Wow.
And the holiday party that you can throw. This house is so spacious, you wouldn't have to cut anybody off of your guest list this year.
So if you win this, you could be celebrating Christmas in this stunning house this year.
Absolutely.
Okay, so, and this house you can probably put up about 6 or 7 different Christmas trees we were talking about.
At least.
Absolutely. All right, and so this is over 5,400 square feet, 4 bedrooms, and this stunning kitchen behind us.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And just the lower entertainment area with the arcade is amazing, and the gym, because we have to stay healthy after we consume all these holiday calories.
Right, yes. Oh my goodness, I didn't even know there was a gym downstairs. I've been going through this house for about an hour and I still didn't even make it to the gym yet. Okay, so it's a wonderful thing to win, and the deadline is midnight tonight.
Absolutely.
Okay, and where does the money, the proceeds, it also goes to help our community. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, this is great because when you purchase your lottery ticket, you are really making an impact when it comes to cardiovascular disease for women, because we get to create a state-of-the-art clinic space where we're delivering comprehensive care to women who are at risk or have suffered from cardiovascular disease by a team of experts. And it is so important because we know every 16 minutes, 1 woman in Canada dies of cardiovascular disease. We can make an impact, and I know Calgarians have a woman in their life that if they suffered from cardiovascular disease would want a clinic like this here.
So it's an amazing clinic, a stunning house. Sounds like a fantastic win-win with all of this. All right, thank you very much, Dr. Sandhu. Let's talk about the weather really quickly. Today was warm, but certainly windy, especially south of the city. So Pincher Creek maximum gust today was 115 kilometers per hour and close to 100 in Lethbridge. And Calgary, we were in those mid-40s. Medicine Hat over 60. We're still looking at gusty conditions tomorrow, just not as gusty. South of Calgary, 60 to 70 kilometer per hour gusts. And for Calgary, we're looking closer to that 40 range. So temperatures won't be quite as warm tomorrow, but still warm enough for this time of year, absolutely. 8 degrees is the temperature in the city, Lethbridge and Milk River right now. And you can see that strong flow out of the west that we're going to continually get as we go through the next day, which is why we'll get to at least 9 degrees for tomorrow in the city, gusts around 40 kilometers per hour, and that Chinook Arch certainly built in some spots as well. After this, though, there's a big system that rolls in, and ETA for snow time, for snow arrival, is you're basically looking at 4 p.m. on Sunday. 1 to 3 centimeters possible Sunday through early Monday morning. And then that will open the gates for much, much colder air to roll in. Our daytime highs for all of next week will not get above freezing. All right, midnight tonight is the absolute final deadline in the hospital home lottery. This is the last chance to win the $3.3 million grand prize show home plus $100,000. Buy before midnight tonight at CalgaryHospitalHomeLottery.com.
Still to come on CTV News, the Prime Minister touches down in South Africa. His international trip continues. We'll tell you what he's hoping to accomplish now at the G20 summit after leaving the AUE. And word tonight of a new deal for Canada Post workers. Those stories are still ahead. We have breaking news from Ottawa tonight. Canada Post and the union representing more than 50,000 mail carriers have reached an agreement in principle that would bring an end to the years-long labour dispute. The Canadian Union of Postal Workers says rotating strike action has now been suspended as the parties work out language in the new contracts. The union says the two sides agree on the main points of the deal and must now work out tentative agreements for members to vote on. If the two sides cannot come to terms on the language in those deals, a strike could resume heading into the busy holiday season. The deal comes as Canada Post reports the steepest quarterly loss in its history as the labour dispute ran up against long-standing structural issues in the Postal Service's business model. The Prime Minister has begun the next leg of his international trip, touching down in South Africa this afternoon for the G20 summit. This stop comes on the heels of his trip to the United Arab Emirates, where he secured a pledge of $70 billion to be invested in Canadian energy, AI, mining, and other sectors. Here's CTV's Rachel Aiello.
Over the next year, we will take significant measures to elevate our relationship.
Speaking to a crowd of Emirati and Canadian business leaders, the Prime Minister said his government is ready to start reaping the benefits of a strengthened economic and diplomatic relationship between the two countries.
On the surface, to the uninitiated, Canada and the UAE can appear as different as snow and sand. Yet we're deeply, deeply aligned. At our core, we're both trading nations.
At the Canada-UAE Business Council Summit, Mark Carney highlighted how both nations are in a position to lead the global clean energy transition and announced the start of a new agreement valued at more than $1 billion to expand critical mineral processing capacity in Canada.
This is a new chapter in our relationship, a new chapter in our partnership.
Delegations of big funders from both nations will also be exchanging visits next year. Trips made easier by Canada and the UAE confirming more direct commercial flights are coming. With the Canada-U.S. trade war waging on, the political stakes are high for Carney to deliver on diversifying Canada's economy quickly.
This is really important to AI infrastructure build out, data centers, mining projects, infrastructure, everything that Canada wants to build will need a large amount of money, and the UAE is a good starting point for that.
Briefly speaking with reporters here before his speech, Carney said he wants that new trade deal wrapped up within a year. He also confirmed that he did raise Canada's concerns about the issue in Sudan with the UAE president directly. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Abu Dhabi.
Special guests filled the seats at a Calgary Philharmonic rehearsal today. Guide dog puppies in training were happy to listen in, learning the ropes and getting familiar with all the sights and sounds. That's next. Calgary Philharmonic had a rehearsal this morning for its show tonight. It is typically closed to the public, but today it was open to some very special guests. CNIB guide dog volunteers brought in their puppies. The young dogs have to be exposed to all kinds of different environments during their training, and for many, this was even their first trip downtown. Kevin Fleming reports.
This is Frankie. He's a 10-week-old black lab, and Barb Shanahan has been working with him for just 2 weeks.
He's really attentive. He's really eager to learn. He's really excited to try new things, and he's already learned a number of the cues that we work with, and it's amazing how quickly they learn.
This is Shanahan's third puppy in as many years.
It's just such a wonderful opportunity. It's so fun to have them and be able to interact with puppies all the time. I mean, how great is that? Look at that face. How can you not love that?
The puppies meeting at the Jack Singer Concert Hall are all training to be guide dogs for the CNIB.
This is the first time that we've done something like this. So it's a really good opportunity for our puppies to kind of get familiar with different sounds and different experiences like the Philharmonic. A lot of our puppies are pretty new to our program at the moment, so this will be a big experience for them.
The players are all business when rehearsal starts, focused on hitting all the right notes despite the distraction of having puppies in the audience. The Calgary Philharmonic has been partnering with guide dog groups since 2009.
It's an important part of our mission here because we like to make sure that everybody is welcome at the Calgary Philharmonic. So helping these dogs in training to learn how to do that for their owners eventually is really important to us, that we're very accessible. And the Calgary Phil belongs to everyone.
Gray says the CNIB is always looking for more volunteers because it has a new batch of puppies arriving in January.
We have 3 different puppy raising roles. We have puppy starters who have them for about 4 months. We have puppy finishers who have them for about 8 to 10 months. And then we have puppy raisers who have them for about 12 to 15 months old. So it all varies depending on what they're willing to commit to.
The trainers know it's hard to give the dogs up after their training, but are proud of the work they'll do helping others. Kevin Fleming, CTV News, Calgary.
The CNIB Guide Dog Program only started nationally in 2017, and here in Calgary in 2019. We've posted more information about the program on our website. All right, well, Glenn, you might remember seeing images of a blue Volkswagen bus that survived the devastation of the Palisades fire in Los Angeles. That was back in January. It's now been fully restored.
After everything she's been through, you could tell they put so much care.
So this is Megan Weinrob. She's marveling at her 1977 microbus. She nicknamed it Azul. This is the first time she's had it back in almost a year. In January, after the devastating wildfires tore through LA, it was this image that kind of became an unlikely beacon of hope for many, that bright blue bus standing out amid the wreckage. I remember that. Yep. Azul looked okay from one side, but from the other, you could see it was in pretty bad shape. It had busted windows and melted plastic and burnt paint, heavy smoke damage. Volkswagen stepped in when they saw this. They wanted to help after seeing that famous video. So the VW techs took the classic bus and its engine right down to its core and then built it back up. They even crafted a custom blue paint to match the original. It's going to be at the LA car show for the next week or so, and then she's going to have it back to be able to drive again.
What a job they did. Like, look at how good that is.
It looks fantastic.
Yeah,
it's great. It looks fantastic.
What a cool looking vehicle.
Yeah. Well, here's a lesson for every traveler. You have to make sure that you check the weather before you head out hiking. Yeah, so these guys did not check when was the best time to do this hike. They did not get a view at all. Wow. They walked 10 kilometers, 480 meters of elevation. Instead of seeing the most beautiful lake in Switzerland, which was what all the social media posts show, they got fog.
At least they made it.
They got their steps in. I mean, they got a good workout, but they saw absolutely nothing.
Zero. Yeah.
Got to have a sense of humor about it. Well, a whole new generation, particularly Gen Z, is discovering the 90s hit Friends thanks to streaming platforms. They've been watching it in droves. What they may not even know is that when it ended, there was a spin-off series. Do you remember this? It was a 2004 NBC sitcom called Joey. It only lasted 2 years. It was canceled in 2006, midway through the second season, because it didn't have very good ratings. The final episodes didn't ever air, but now fans can watch them on the Friends YouTube channel. So the show aired just 4 months after Friends ended. It was about Joey living in Los Angeles. Ironically, it was based on the fact that Joey's sitcom had been canceled and he had to move in with family. And then his sitcom got canceled.
I think I do remember it.
I do remember it. But I didn't ever watch it. It didn't do very well. Obviously, it got canceled a season and a half in, but
just
now,
remember, everything old is new.
That's right. That's right. An Alberta singer is pushing for a citizens' petition to stop coal mining. We'll tell you what the Premier thinks about Cord Lund's pitch. Stay with us.
Okay, your Skywatch weather camera. The sun is set on a warm but certainly windy day in the city, and for areas outside the city, to the south of the city, very gusty. We're looking at a similar day for tomorrow, but in many cases for areas to the far south, we're looking at less windy, less intense winds. So instead of 100-kilometer-per-hour gusts, Pincher Creek over to Lethbridge, looking closer to 70-kilometer-per-hour gusts. For us in the city, 40 is what's likely for tomorrow, so similar to today, but that's what got us up to 11 degrees, as you can see today. Currently, we're sitting at 8 degrees. Just a look around here, 4 degrees is the temperature in in Brooks at the moment, -1 in Drumheller, 8 degrees in Lethbridge, and 5 in Pincher Creek. All right, let's fast forward to the next 24 hours, and this is your Action Furnace 24-hour forecast, brought to you by Action Furnace, fixed right or it's free. 5 degrees for the next within the next hour here, and then you're looking at gusts really starting to calm down. They've already started to calm down for the day. It will be calm overnight, and then they'll pick back up again for tomorrow out of the southwest, and that will get us up to at least 9 degrees with that Chinook Arch in place for tomorrow. Let's take a little look around. 9 degrees for Kamloops, 8 Kelowna, certainly some cloud cover. We're looking at moisture, mixed precipitation pushing into Salmon Arm, Fernie and Golden for tomorrow, but it should be dry on the other side of the Rockies here. Edmonton mainly cloudy and 4 degrees, 6 for Red Deer, Chinook Arch for Olds down through Calgary and High River. High River should get into the double digits tomorrow at 11 degrees. Lethbridge, Brooks, Medicine Hat, Milk River also looking at those double digits. Again, it will be on the windy side, 60 to 70 kilometers per hour for tomorrow in areas to the far south. All right, this is it. The final deadline to win the Hospital Home Lottery $3.3 million grand prize show home is just hours away. The 50-50 is now almost over $2.6 million. Buy before midnight tonight at CalgaryHospitalHomeLottery.com.
Premier Danielle Smith continues her push for a pipeline. Smith says she agrees with BC Premier David Eby that the Trans Mountain Pipeline needs more capacity, but she still believes there's enough demand for a new line to the coast. The province now has a roadmap to address complexities and rising aggression in the classroom. A new report includes 7 recommendations, but action won't happen until the new year. And another recall petition effort has been approved, this time against Grand Prairie UCP MLA Nolan Dick. The Premier says she's considering procedural changes to recall legislation. The Premier is reacting to country singer Corb Lund's Citizens Initiative petition. Lund's petition will ask for the end of coal mining on the eastern slopes of the Rockies. The Grassy Mountain Coal Exploration Project was initially rejected in 2021, but Alberta's energy regulator approved it earlier this year, saying it's in the public interest. Lund says his petition is not political, but is about keeping water clean in the mountains. The country singer also said the Premier was part of the reason behind his petition.
Maybe he'll write a song about me. I'm glad I'm able to be his muse. I support citizen-initiated referenda. I think it's really important that people have their say.
Smith adds the province has changed coal policies to end open pit mining and mountaintop removal. Elections Alberta has not approved the petition. If it does, Lund will have to collect 177,000 signatures. Well, let's take a peek now at the Friday markets. The Canadian dollar is up slightly, closing at $70.96. West Texas Intermediate is down almost $1 to close at $58.06. Western Canadian Select also down 33 cents. It finishes the day at $46.20. And the TSX closes up this Friday by 254 points, wrapping up the week at 30,160.65. Alberta Health Services will be accepting unwrapped toys as payment for parking tickets. Tickets must have been issued between November 7th and December 19th at AHS, Primary Care, Acute Care, Assisted Living and Recovery Alberta locations. Toys must be in their original packaging and suitable for newborn to 17 years old, with a minimum value of $25. The toys will be given to hospital and local charities province-wide. More than 1,100 toys were donated last year. The Calgary Hitmen have a home matchup against the Medicine Hat Tigers this weekend, and they will be looking for contributions from a couple of former Calgary Canucks who are now on the team. The Calgary Hitmen are getting to know the Medicine Hat Tigers really well this week. Glenn is back with us. The two teams playing 3 straight games against each other.
That's Tara. The Tigers got the better of the Hitmen on Wednesday night, beating them 6-2 at the Dome. 2 teams play again on Saturday in Medicine Hat, and then on Sunday at the Dome again. Meanwhile, a couple of Hitmen have made a smooth transition from the AJHL to the WHL. Last year, Brad Moran and Luke Trevors celebrated winning the Centennial Cup with the Calgary Canucks. This year, both have made the move to the Calgary Hitmen. It was actually Moran who suggested to Trevors that he give the Hitmen a shot.
I got an opportunity from Brad a couple weeks before camp. He invited me to come out, and I gave it my all. Thought I had a great camp, and the rest is history. So I've been extremely happy to be here. Obviously, it's a bit of a faster pace. Like, this is a great league, but I feel like every game I've grown and developed, and I'm playing with some great players who have helped me do that a lot.
Obviously, Trevor's made the most of his opportunity. He says the transition was easier because he has a familiar face with him.
Like, I got so much respect for Brad. I loved him as a coach last year, so yeah, we have a great connection and relationship, so it was awesome for the opportunity.
The 19-year-old Trevors has put up 3 goals and 5 assists in 20 games with the Hitmen. The WHL is a step up from the AJHL, but Moran isn't surprised that Trevors is having some success.
He had the ability to bring some things maybe we needed, and with the different rules now, maybe there's those opportunities for some older guys to get those chances in the Western Hockey League, and we've seen a few guys throughout the league. So good on him for sticking with it, and he needs to continue to grow his game.
Moran played 5 seasons with the Hitmen, scoring 204 goals and adding 246 assists for 450 points. His jersey was retired by the Hitmen in 2005 and hangs from the rafters. Moran says being back at the Saddledome is like a homecoming.
It's really fulfilling, and it's kind of nice to go full circle and be honest, be back in this building and with the organization as a whole and the professionalism and the league, and just, you know, guys are one step away from the NHL to be able to work with those players, and really rewarding and fun most days.
The puck drop for Sunday's game at the Scotiabank Saddledome is 4 o'clock. Flames forward Sam Honzik just can't seem to catch a break. Honzik looked like he was really establishing himself as an NHLer this season, and then this happened. A collision with Michael Backlund in the game against the Winnipeg Jets. Today we learned Honzik had surgery. He's going to be out 6 months. His career's been plagued by injuries, and you really have to feel sorry for the kid. And the Flames had a big game today, not on the ice, but on the gym floor. Their opponent, the Townsend Tigers. Yeah, it was a 42nd annual floor hockey match between the Tigers and the Flames, and it has not gone well for the Flames over the years. The Tigers have yet to lose a game to the Flames this year. No exception. Tigers, they beat the Flames again. You could run that winning streak to 43 years, but what this is really about is letting the kids go out and have some fun, because life can be difficult in the hospital.
Oh, I think it's going to be awesome, and yeah, just get back into hockey, because this year, due to my injury, I'm not able to play hockey this year, so just being able to play with them and get my hockey feel back is going to be wonderful.
Even though the Flames went down to defeat once again this year, make no mistake, this day, it's also special for them, as they all make a huge difference in these child's lives.
They should practice more. You can't beat the Tigers.
Yeah,
no
absolutely.
Way.
Yeah, they're good. Every year.
Every year. Thank you, Glenn. Let's go back out for our final peek of the weather with Danielle.
Yes, and I should have made this suggestion earlier, Tara. If you have not decorated outside for Christmas yet, and that was one of your plans, it's probably better to do it this weekend compared to next weekend, especially if you would prefer to do it in +10 rather than -10. Tomorrow, at least 9 degrees is our daytime high. We may get into the double digits, but of course it comes with windy conditions up to 40 kilometers per hour, especially in the afternoon. And Sunday by 4 p.m. we get into the chance of snowfall, 1 to 3 centimeters possible. And by next week, we are looking at daytime highs below freezing for the whole week. All right, your weather window is brought to you by Lux Windows and Doors, crafting quality windows and doors for your style, budget, and Alberta's climate. Brian Rushfelt, thank you for sending in this stunning photo.
And thank you for your company tonight. Have a terrific weekend. For breaking news anytime, go to our website.